Now this next game's from the 7th console generation. I played this back when it came out, but I quit playing it. I gave up on it for some reason. But you guys, the guys that come to my live streams on Tuesdays, you picked this game for me to play. You tipped money to force me to play it. I was scared, but I'm so glad you did. And it's Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. If you haven't put it together, Revengeance is a combination of the word revenge and vengeance. Neither of which seem to have anything to do with this game, but they both sound really cool separately and less cool put together. It's really kind of a lame name, I'm not gonna lie. Now this was put out by Platinum Games, and I'm a huge fan of Platinum Games. They put out Bayonetta, they put out Mad World, they've done a ton of stuff. The Wonderful 101, and typically I really like their stuff. Some of their games like Vanquish I think are some of the best games in the genre, and then there are other ones I've played that I just could not get into. So I was wondering where this one was going to land. So the story in this one is that you play as Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2, and I think this takes place between Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5, but I'm not sure because I've never played either one of those games. I haven't gotten to them yet, but it doesn't really even matter, because not even the writer of this game could recount what happens in the story. Most of the Metal Gear Solid games are not known for having a very concise and simple story. And this is the case here, mixed with the insanity that Platinum loves to put in their games. So I guess Raiden starts off as like a bodyguard for the president, and there's a coup, and things go sideways, which leads to Raiden getting his jaw and several other appendages like hacked off. Luckily, at this point in humanity's development, they have developed the ability to turn him into like a cyborg ninja. Thank God we could turn him into a cyborg ninja with a robotic jaw. So they go ahead and they do that. And he sets out to investigate the conspiracy behind the coup, I think, which leads him down a rabbit hole of just the craziest freaking nonsense about orphan children being turned into robot terrorists and murder and treason. But, you know, enough about all that really awesome stuff. Let's talk about the gameplay. So you run around Devil May Cry style, and you hack and slash enemies, and you just hold down R1 to run, and you basically just auto-platform over everything. And you would think that that would suck, but it's actually really cool and a lot of fun, and it sends you into like a flow state where you're just focusing on like almost surfing over obstacles in the environment. So one of the benefits of running around in this style is that it affords you the opportunity to kick most of the enemies in the nuts and just like send them shooting up into the air. At that point, you can juggle them with various attacks. And after enough damage, you go into like serial killer mode, I guess, and you zoom in on them where you hack them into like hundreds of pieces by waggling around the right analog stick. And if you hit the highlighted weak point, you rip out their freaking spine and drink their precious body fluids to replenish your health. And you basically chain this crap together for the whole game, and it's freaking awesome. So when the enemies do attack you, you press the attack button and press in the direction the attack's coming from to parry them. You know how cool it is to have the parry button just be your attack button? You don't have to worry about switching buttons to parry. No, you just point in that direction, and it makes you feel like a total badass. Once you parry them, buddy, they're wide open, and you can really deal out some punishment. The combat in this game is just incredible. It's beyond most games I've ever played. And not for 1 second playing it did it ever get boring. I was constantly cracking up by what was happening, and there's a stiff challenge to the game, but it felt just right. You never feel underpowered in this game. You feel super overpowered if you know how to play it, and you feel even more overpowered when you start upgrading yourself. And you'll need to do that because the bosses are no cakewalk. They put up a real challenge. A couple of them took me a few tries, several tries, like an hour's worth of tries to finally take them down. It was hard, but it was very rewarding and totally worth it. Now, as you can see, the game looks pretty good. The character models look decent, but the settings, the environments do have that PS3, Xbox 360 era curse of being super brown and gray all the time. And it was pretty boring, even though there were some Metal Gear Solid style like stealth sections to it. Most of the level traversal wasn't that great, and it felt like it was wasting my time a little bit, just a little bit. The music, on the other hand, is absolutely banging. It's so good. It's rocking, it's epic when it needs to be, it helps out the monotony of the levels when it really kicks in and gets going. And luckily, the game is brief enough at like about 7 hours or so to keep things from really grating on you. So it is a short experience, and the game's designed to play through multiple times and get better and better rankings, like Devil May Cry and most of Platinum's other games. I guess my final conclusion with this is that I really enjoyed this game's combat and the challenge it provided. It felt really fluid, and it made me feel like an actual flippin' ninja. The typical zany nonsense from Metal Gear Solid combined with the craziness of Platinum games was nice. And although I couldn't really follow the plot, and it didn't really make much sense when I did follow it, I still enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the off-the-wall characters. The story, the level design, the environments, they could all use a little bit of work in my opinion. But I think this game can hang in there with some of the best of Platinum's games. I really wish this game would have gotten a sequel. So Metal Gear Rising Revengeance was a great game. I'm so glad you guys forced me to play it, because I don't know that I ever would have gotten back around to it really. I think Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is an 8 out of 10. It's great. It's a really great game. It's a high 8. You should definitely give it a shot.